Right. So as I was saying that you have got two classes, elephant and cat, which implement the same animal interface. So since both the classes are implementing the same interface, right, both the classes have the same functions and you can call those functions with the same reference C1. C1 can point towards this or C1 can point towards this as well, provided you create the object with the reference of animal class C1. Okay, anybody with any questions in this? Anyone? If you have not understood, then let me know. Right, what is the advantage of this? I'm going to talk about right now. We all know that I just told you that WebDriver is the interface, and these are all the implementing classes like Chrome driver. No, Vinay, this is not polymorphism. No, right. Okay, this is the concept of interfaces, right? Chrome driver, Edge driver, Firefox driver, all these are the driver classes. So I can create the object of the class. How did I create the object of the class till now? I wrote Firefox driver, Firefox equals to new Firefox driver. Right. I created the object like this. For the Chrome driver, I created the object like this. Hold on. Right. Now instead of creating separate objects, like you can also write, say, web driver fd equals to new Firefox driver, or web driver dr equals to new Chrome driver. This is the interface, the reference of the interface equating to the object of the class which is implementing the interface. All these Firefox driver, Chrome driver, iDriver classes, they implement the web driver interface. Okay. Right. Now what you can do is that you can write like this, say web driver equals to null. That means driver reference is not pointing towards any object. It is just lying there in the memory, but it is not pointing towards any reference. Based on your requirement, you can point the driver to new Firefox driver. Okay, so what will happen is that if you write driver.get, go to the URL http, say gmail.com, this will take Firefox to Gmail. Fine. Then you can equate the same driver to new Chrome driver. Okay, and then you can write driver.get to, say, yahoo.com. So a new Chrome driver will launch and it will take you to yahoo.com. The reference is the same. Okay. Right, if I run this, hold on, let me copy the Chrome driver exe path, paste it here, because for Chrome driver we have to set the exe path, right? Okay, if I run this, you'll see that first Firefox will open. It will take you to Gmail, and then Chrome will open, and it will take you to Yahoo. right? Okay, now coming over to the other example, wherein I had told you that based on the variable, the browser should get opened. So I don't have to do all these things over here. Okay, I don't need to do this. I just need to declare my WebDriver. Fine. If the browser is Firefox, then equate driver to new Firefox driver. If the browser is Chrome, equate driver to new Chrome driver. And if the driver is I, then equate it to new Internet Explorer driver. And whichever driver has opened, you don't have to worry, the functions will remain same in all the drivers, because all the driver classes are implementing the same interface. You can write driver.get http gmail.com. So whether you are opening Chrome, whether you are opening IE or Firefox, this will open the respective browser and take it to gmail.com. If I write over here Chrome, okay, take it to gmail.com and say print the title as well, driver.get the title. So if I run this code, it will open Chrome now and it will take you to Gmail and print the title of the page. Alright, fine. So you don't have to worry that how will you work on multiple browsers. This is how you will work. And when you build a framework, by the end of this session you will use the same particular function. Okay, in the framework you make an open browser function that will open whatever browser you want, right? So you can dynamically assign your driver to any driver class. Alright, so this is about interfaces. What is the concept of an interface? How do you use an interface in Selenium? Right. Okay, and how do you use it? You equate the driver to null. Fine. And you then point it towards the corresponding class implementing the WebDriver interface. Okay. Now once you are on gmail.com, you have printed the title. Out here the title is also getting printed. Now you have to identify the objects. How do you identify the objects? What do you mean by an object first of all? Okay, look, in automation testing, right, if you talk about if you hear automation testers talk to each other, you will at times hear the word object. Okay, right, that the object is not visible or the object is not available, right? Everything on the web page is known as an object in automation. Every link, every button, every checkbox, every radio button, the text on the page, everything is technically known as an object. Okay, and in Selenium we call the object as a web element as well. Don't confuse it with the web element of QTP. In case you have studied QTP, web element of QTP is very different. Okay, so object or web element is the same thing in Selenium. Any link, button, text field, text, radio button, checkbox, anything on the web page is known as a web element as well in case of Selenium. Okay, so how do you identify the objects or web elements on the page? Right, look, first of all, Selenium as a tool works on the page source of the web application. If you right click on the application, you will always get the page source of the application. Okay, for example, if you right click on this application, you'll get the page source. So Selenium always works on the page source. And page source, it remains the same across all the browsers. It is not that in Chrome you will get a different page source for this website. In IE you will get a different page source. No. Page source will always remain the same across all the browsers. And since Selenium works on the page source, okay, it actually it actually works on all the browsers in that case, because you analyze the page source on one particular browser, right, and you can use it on any browser because the page source remains the same across all the browsers. In the page source you will find that it's an HTML code. Okay, if you have time, then you can just refer to any of the HTML tutorials on the web for hardly half an hour. Okay, it will give you a very good background in HTML language. Fine, just go to W3 schools, analyze any of the HTML page source, right? And in HTML page source there are tags and attributes. For example, this is a tag name. Whatever starts with a conical bracket in a maroonish color is known as a tag name. A tag has got multiple attributes associated with it. Okay, it is, all the attributes are optional. It may be there, it might not be there. For example, this is a h3 tag. It has got no attribute. It starts over here, ends over here. In between we have the headlines Selenium sponsors. Fine. The anchor tag, many of you must be knowing, it represents the URL which will open when you click on the link or something. Fine. This is a division tag. It's got an attribute known as class, whose value is Selenium sponsors. So based on the combination of these tag names and the attributes, okay, we go and identify the objects on the page. Okay, so I will now talk about object identification. Fine. Selenium works on the page source, how you analyze the page source, which all tools you need to install to analyze the page source. Okay, I'm going to talk about that right now. Fine. Hold on. Okay, fine. Somebody is asking the question that if I use WebDriver, driver equals to new Firefox driver or Chrome driver, I cannot use the proprietary functions of these classes. Yes, you cannot use, but these classes don't have those many proprietary functions as well. Almost all the functions are coming from the WebDriver interface itself. Okay, so you don't have to worry. Your work will not suffer. Okay, right. Fine. Now, moving ahead. Out here, right, I was talking about object identification, right. Let me go to this project itself and let me make an Excel file. Okay, I'll make a new Excel file known as objects, right, and just a minute. Alright, fine. So if I open this Excel file, Right. Now I'll make the columns like object, right, and tag name. Hold on, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Mandatory attribute and hold on just a minute guys, my PC has stuck up. Right, okay, it's okay now. So over here I have made these columns: object, tag name, mandatory attributes and optional attributes. Now what do you mean by attributes and tag names? I just explained you that out here whatever is in the maroonish red color, it's known as the tag name, and all a tag name may have multiple attributes. Okay, right, fine. Now what all kind of elements are there on the page? What do you think? Links are there, buttons are there, right, fine. Hold on, I'll just put it like this. You have links on the page, you have buttons on the page, you have got text fields, right, and you have got radio buttons, check boxes, right, you have got select or drop downs. Okay, you have got general text on the page, the visible text which is there, not the text fields but general text. Okay, right. Now each of these elements or each of these objects will have a certain tag name, mandatory and optional attributes with which we identify the element. Fine. Okay, now what is the tag name? If I talk about a link will always have anchor tag. Okay, for example, out here, or hold on, let me explain you, just a minute. Go to Google, open Firefox and go to Google. Right, and type over here Firebug, Firefox. Firebug is an add-on on top of Firefox. Search it in Firefox. It helps you to analyze the elements. In Google Chrome and in I will tell you. Okay, let us talk about Firefox. You install this add-on in your machine. Okay, on the Firefox, you can click on Add to Firefox button and install it. If you have an older version of Firefox, okay, then this button would be disabled, and you scroll down and you install it for the older version of Firefox from here. Once you install it, you will have this icon in the browser, this small icon. You click on this icon. When you click on it, you will have a window like this coming up, right, and if you click on this small mouse icon in this, and wherever you move the mouse on the page, you will get the source code of the page. Okay, right. Now if I look at this link, a link will always start with the anchor tag A, always. fine. And if I look at this text field, this text field will always actually start with the tag name input. So every element, if you look at if you look at a link will always start with the tag name anchor tag. So every element has got a particular tag name. Link has a tag name anchor. Okay, right. Buttons have the tag name input. Text fields also have input tag name, radio buttons input, checkboxes input. Drop downs have a select tag. Okay, a text can have any tag like division, para, span, there can be anything. H1, H2, H3, no specific one. Okay, and there are few mandatory attributes which will always be there with a particular tag. For example, if you have a link, fine, then with a link you will always find this href attribute which will point towards the location or the URL which will open when you click on the link. Okay, right. So in case of link, the href attribute is the mandatory attribute. In case of a button, fine, if I have a button, for example, if I go to are you not able to hear my voice? Pavan, you are not in audio conference. Just a minute. I'll just inform Pavan. Okay, hold on. Alright, okay, fine. So over here, href attribute is always there. Right, similarly, sorry, if it is a button, text field, radio button or anything, if it is a text field, suppose this is the text field. I'm going to analyze this text field. A text field will always have the input tag name and there will be an attribute known as type equals to text. This attribute will always be there in case of text field. In case of a button, type equals to submit is there, or type equals to button is also there at times. In case of radio buttons, type equals to radio is there. In case of a checkbox, type equals to checkbox is there. Select box has got no mandatory attribute and text has also got no mandatory attribute. And there are few optional attributes, they might be present. Okay, right. Attributes like name, ID, class. Most of the times these are the three attributes. They might or might not be present. If they are present, then the identification of the object becomes really easy. Okay, right. So you have got this matrix, it will help you a lot. Fine. The download link will be in your batch ID. I will give you the batch ID on next Saturday. Okay, right. Now, how do I actually identify the objects? If you have Firefox, then you will use Firefox detector. Like this is the one. If I go to google.com, I can use Firebug on google.com and I can move the mouse over any link or something. I can see the source code. If I am having Chrome, right, if I am having Chrome, I'll open a Chrome. Right, and on Chrome, if I go to any website, and on that website, if I right click on any Chrome, you don't have to install anything special. Okay, if you right over here, if you right click on any element, okay, I right click over here, you will get the option to inspect the element and you will have the source code. Okay, there will be a arrow like similar to Firefox. You can click on this and you can investigate any element. It is inbuilt, it's known as a Chrome inspector. Okay, you can right click on element and click on inspect. Fine. Okay, in case of IE, if you have to inspect an element in IE, right, you can hit F12 of keyboard. F12 will open this IE developer tool. Fine, and it's kind of hanged right now. Okay, you can select this arrow over there and you can investigate the element in case of I as well. Right. Okay, guys, so in case of I, you have got this I developer tool. You can click on this arrow and investigate the elements, but you don't have to do that in case of every browser. Right, you can investigate the element on Firefox, right, and you can use it on any other particular browser like Chrome or IE, because the element will always remain the same. The page source remains the same across all the browsers. Okay, don't think that this page source will differ across the browsers. No, it will not differ. So you don't have to worry. Right, this page source will remain the same across all the browsers, and that's the biggest advantage. You analyze the browsers or you analyze the page source